Good morning, YouTube. What's going on? Welcome to the stream. This is first stream I've ever tried to do, so no promises on how well that's going to work. I am going to record it just so that I can go back and watch and see what's going on. We are trading the micro NASDAQ. Had a big drop overnight. Looks like huge gap down. Be keeping my eyes on that. Generally speaking, these gaps like to be filled at some point. They're wildly inefficient per ICT. I've got the 830 price marked out. Weekly open, of course, is where we dropped. Midnight open. I want to see if we're going to try to trade up and fill this gap, or if we're coming down here for the lows down here. I don't expect much out of it on a Monday. Generally speaking, Mondays can be pretty slow, but you see we've got these relative equal lows here. Definitely keeping an eye on that. Definitely want to see. The opening was really weak. I'd like to see more out of it than that. See if we trade up into this gap. Now the actual NASDAQ chart was definitely not in sync with the micro NASDAQ, which is odd. There is some news at 10, I believe. Go to Forex Factory. Yeah, there's manufacturing PMI coming up at 10. That's something to keep in mind. So we'll probably just wait. What price wants to do. I'm in no hurry. We take the highs on this chart. Up to the weekly open. See how it's extremely wicky so far. Usually a sign that it's probably just going to be a choppy day. A lot of times the market will wait for the news. You guys let me know if you can hear me. And this is really a test run. This is the first time ever trying to do this, so see how it goes. I'm gonna try something here. Oh my gosh. If this pulls up. For some reason. All right, there we go. All right. So we are trading up into the gap, it looks like. How far up into the gap we're going to go? Let's see, so that was 445. Technically, this is the midpoint of that. Where did my fib settings go? I don't need that on there. What I did want was quarters. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. That's right. Gotta do it a little different on that. Just keep an eye out. See how this thing trades up into these quarters. Whether or not we want to trade higher. If we get above 50%, then I'd be interested in seeing what it would do there at that level. We stay in this lower quarter, generally speaking, then I don't think we're going to go higher. I mean, honestly, my bias is really lower. I mean, if you kind of throw in the macroeconomics, everything going on, I could see us going lower. We did just spike above the weekly open there. I'm going to sit and watch, see how we trade. We got that news at 10, so we're just kind of hanging out. If you happen to join the stream, jump in, say something. Please let me know you can hear everything okay. Sounds good. And this is the first trial, so brand new to how all this YouTube streaming works. We'll give it our best, though. Planning to stream pretty much every day. If the market's open, if nothing else but to watch and talk about price action. Not always going to take a trade. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to put risk on the table, and sometimes it does. So I'm also keeping an eye. I've got a screen above me here that shows me the NASDAQ and the ES kind of side by side. I'm running a 2 computer setup, so you can't see all that, but keeping an eye on both, looking for a potential SMT, which currently the micro NASDAQ is reaching higher. I'm kind of interested to see what this level looks like at 21,384. right about here. This is kind of my point of interest for now. Just to see if we can reach that. That's kind of the daily's range based on Power 3. I recommend you check out Hoppy if you haven't checked him out on Twitter. Hoppy's got a wealth of information. You can, I don't know if he's still selling the, he had a digital PDF book that he continuously updates that is well worth a read. Talks about gold back levels and such. I try to pair a little bit of that with ICT's concepts, and I still consider ICT to be the godfather when it comes to helping me understand how to read price action. Learned a lot about how things work, headed towards liquidity pools, that sort of thing. I mean, everybody trades a little different, so that's okay. If you don't know much about ICT, he's got a huge library of free stuff on the internet. Love him or hate him, there's a whole lot of controversy around his stuff, but it helped me to see the market differently, and I think that really dramatically changed how I trade, for sure. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. Aim of this game is really managing your risk. I'm still going to wait, even though I like that we spiked above the weekly open. And we are now kind of displacing below these 1 minute lows, although it's not a huge displacement, so that's why I'd rather wait. I feel like we're still kind of in the middle of the Power 3 range. And so it's most likely going to chop in this area and generate some liquidity on both sides. Of course, not financial advice, it's just my take on what's currently going on with the price action. I don't love it. I don't see it willingness for it to really go anywhere. We're kind of been basing around this whole area. Took out the London session highs, which would be right about here. And then we kind of came back up and double purged those highs. So that's definitely a trade idea that could have been taken after the purge of these highs. You target the opposite side of the range. It's a decent trade, but since there's news coming out at 10, I'd rather just wait. Probably not going to be very big impact news, but news nonetheless, Yeah, we, they got the OPEC meetings today. For an oil trader, it's a big deal. PMI, manufacturing PMI is not crazy powerful in my experience for moving the market, but it's still an excuse to generate liquidity. So the initial release there was at 945, and that came in a little bit better than forecasted, and then we're just waiting on that 10 o'clock injection. That's kind of usually the big one, It's all about injection of liquidity, really. Gives them a reason to move price, whether or not you believe an algorithm controls the market. Price has to deliver efficiently. So it's going to seek liquidity. It's going to seek orders on either side. I mean, people use Bookmap all the time, and Bookmap is a great tool because it show you where resting orders are, so you can kind of get a feel for where the major liquidity points are in the market. a lot of people, I know people that trade off of that and they're successful and they enjoy it, and that's great. It's never worked for me because it throws a hard line in the sand for me that my mind has a hard time letting go of. And they do something called spoofing orders from time to time. And so they'll throw in, big orders or hide iceberg orders where you can't see it. I mean, if you think about how big bank needs to get into the market, they can't just throw in all their size at one point. They have to pair it with other orders, and they have to do it slowly so that the market doesn't go crazy, so they can still get in the pricing that they want. So it kind of goes in stages, and Bookmap tends to throw me off a little bit on that because it'll draw the price towards a certain area, and then the price will slam away from it, or they'll pull that order before it ever gets to it. So call that spoofing. And I'm pretty sure that's an illegal practice, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's just ghost orders and that sort of thing. I don't know. So it throws me off. For me, I like to try to just read the raw price action candlesticks and kind of utilize the daily range. This is not pretty price action. Just been kind of chopping around in this area for a while now. We did take out the high down. It's likely for us to take out those lows there. Yet I'm interested in this area, and then also potentially, according to this dealing range, 21,141 should be around the low of the session. I'm going to mark that on there. Make this one red. And we're going to type in low of the dealing range. This one's a high. So we'll see how we trade in between those. If we take one of those sides and have a reaction to it, then I'm more interested. Right now, we're just kind of sitting around in the middle, which I don't love. Yeah, hanging around there at 830's price. Could be a short stream today if we don't get any fireworks. I'll probably hang around till about 11:30, 12, see how things go. Remember, this week is big week. This is NFP week, so generally speaking, in my experience, Mondays have been pretty good on that week. Could be pretty good. I mean, I guess it all depends on what type of trader you are. If you're a scalper, you could have already made your scalp today here. Traded back up into this gap right here. Could have shorted back down possibly to the low of this range. Would have been a decent 2-1, 100 points. I mean, that's a trade right there. If it wasn't for news, I probably would have taken that. We've also got midnight way down here. In my experience, you want to short above midnight and you want a long below midnight. So being bearish above weekly open, 8:30 and midnight, this is probably kind of the key spot to take the short. Yeah, and I would have taken it if it hadn't been for news coming out at 7 minutes. Just personal experience. I don't like to be in a trade during news. You never know what it can do. Get some crazy wicks and throw you completely off. We'll just see how it goes. Got about 6 minutes until news here. Is it terrible? I'm really not bullish, but if we were to have a nice reversal near the low of this potential dealing range, then I might be interested. Check something out here. We're still looking to create initial balance. Set the high between 9:30 10:30. That first hour of trading usually kind of sets the initial balance. A lot of guys will trade like the initial balance breakout type strategy. Some lipstick up here. That. This is a 30-second. Really, that 5-minute chart looks 15 minutes. Sorry, this looks terrible. All these wicks down below. Generally speaking, you know, the wicks bottoms telling me that we want to push higher, but I don't know. I don't have a ultra clear read on things, so we'll just wait and see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Again, this is the first stream, so there's more to come. Definitely more to come. So here we're approaching 3 minutes in to news, and you see we're getting strong push up. Got a gap right here. If there's any reaction, fair value gap. I like to see we're gonna be headed down, and I'd like to see this gap stay unfilled. So took out the buy side of the 15-minute range. What's next? Usually sell side if we're just gonna chop around down here. Just hanging around that 830 price. Kind of an unwillingness to really go anywhere important. 2 minutes until news. If you're just checking out the stream, possibly hearing it on a recording, add the channel to your list there, and I'll try to go live as often as possible. I don't officially know the streaming schedule yet, but and this is my first time really giving it a whirl, so be doing some live trading. This is entertainment purposes only, not financial advice for sure. Definitely trade trying risk. I'm trading on Top Step X. I've got TradingView that I use for charting as well. It's on a big screen up above my desk here that I can monitor other markets in the DXY. I usually look at the ES, the NQ, and the DXY. You know, if the dollar's headed higher, then usually indices are headed lower, and vice versa. Now, there are times where the markets just are kind of unsure and they move in the same directions, and those are usually high risk times and not a good time to trade. Time to put on a trade. And you can always find something to trade if you really want to. I don't know that I would always recommend going in full risk when markets are unsure, unclear. Best advice I can give anybody new is if you really don't have a good read on things, then just don't trade. Here we go with the news release. It looks like we're going to wipe out sell side. So now we've taken out the 15-minute buy side here. And now we're probably going to take out the 15-minute buy sell side here. Take that off. But we'll see. See, the news brought in a little bit of volatility, but the news candle's not much. Let things settle down. I'd like for us to take the low and come in to try to at least fill some of this gap. This new week opening gap is, you know, pretty big, can be a pretty big draw on liquidity. But it depends on what the market wants to do. Let's take a look at the hourly. We traded into the gap, just barely spiked it here, and then, you know, it's all wicks from there. We've been hovering around this 830 price for a while now. It just shows that the market doesn't really want to do much. CFTC. Take these 15-minute lows. Low the dealing range. You got London lows down there. You got Asia lows down there. Go ahead and mark those out too. 21068 is London's low. Make this one, let's do orange. Not. All right, so we have attacked the 15-minute low. See how we react at the low of this. This is the power 3 243 dealing range that Hoppy uses. That's what the low of this dealing range is. I'd like to see how we react to that. There's a concept of extensions where basically it's stop runs a little bit below that. We'll see. Couple minutes here. It looked like the news release got us going at least. If we take out the initial balance low, ES is right at initial balance low. Hasn't quite taken it though, which is strange. See if we get any kind of follow through into the next lower dealing range, or whether or not we head back up towards the midpoint of this dealing range. Just paying our way through this. I mean, price discovery is kind of what it seems to be doing. It doesn't seem to be really moving with any major displacements. And we've got some displacement here, the 3-minute displacement here, displaced down. This time, market's telling us that it potentially go lower. The only thing I know is that it's kind of hanging out in that area, and I don't like that. I mean, if you're unsure, just sit on your hands. It's always been my motto. We did come down here and have a nice reaction from that low of the dealing range. Could possibly see a run towards the high of the dealing range now. Let's see if I were to go long in this potential area for these highs, possibly. Let's see what we do. Continue lower or continue higher? What do you guys think? That is the question. So this is a 30-second chart. We've got a small fair value gap here that sometimes you can get a really precise entry off of that. Sometimes it can throw you off because 30 seconds is just really fast. I like to watch the 30-second chart to give me a good indicator of like changing directions, sort of thing. Sometimes I even switch to the 15-second chart. You can see the candle movement faster. Maybe it's just my personality that I like it to be moving. Yeah, could be that. Could be we'll just watch for now. See if we actually respect this low. Whether or not we decide we want to go higher. If we I kind of like this jam track. Like mellow, chilling. Got a good vibe to it. It's not bad. I'm learning how to use all the streaming stuff. I tell you, it's a whole world of new stuff to learn. Not easy. Of course, I cram everything, so I'm trying to learn it in 2 days rather than take my time with it. But I don't know. Try by fire. Sometimes you just got to jump in and learn how to use it if you want to get into something new. And thought it'd be cool to, if nothing else, be able to record my own streams and document this as kind of a personal journey. Still failing to take the initial balance low. Still not really going anywhere. I mean, we've moved 100 points. That short from the open there was probably the better move. Although I do kind of feel like we're turning around at this point. the risk reward on that? Ooh, that's a lot of points there. I'd take a practice. Just practice. Just to see some action. I like that we turned around right there. Just practice. Probably get immediately stopped out. Which is why it's practice. You see? When you're unsure, don't trade your real account. That's why. That bad boy. Yep. This market is definitely confused. See how it reacted this low, though. Still don't feel like it's anything good. Great. I mean, if you were in shorts, congratulations. Good for you. I'm really just testing this out more than anything, so. I can go back and watch the stream, see what I need to fix. See anything worth taking? Unreal. Just see how it looks, how it reacts, how it sounds, how it moves. And there's a low of the dealing range. Let's test that water. To target the midpoint of the gap, just for fun, just for science. Really just want to see how it looks on the stream later. Most likely you'd make some tweaks. Hopefully his mic's picking up okay. Just tap that low of that dealing range. Still be interested to see if we were to spike down through London lows. This is, according to Power 3, this is the extension on the 243. in between kind of this area here. It's can be a reversal. Again, this is just practice, so definitely not financial advice. Do not take any trades. If you caught that short though, good for you. I just didn't get involved when there was news coming out, and the news didn't do anything that super exciting to me, so could switch down into the next dealing range. It's kind of a breaker right there that we're at the midpoint of. Break point. See how we react in this area. Sometimes these charts don't quite, I don't know if they just don't update or what the deal is, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Yeah, this is just choppy, nasty price action. I mean, it's just been grinding lower. It's not really worth taking anything on a real account. Just takes practice for fun, for entertainment for you guys. Oh, okay. Let's see what it does. See, that's the thing on the ES. We're basically at the London lows at the moment. We're a couple of ticks off from London's lows. Of course, we're at the initial balance lows. A nice spike up to take liquidity and then drop. See that? You could also see us running back up there. They like to catch people off guard. Them on the wrong side, so. Still nothing interesting enough to put actual risk on. Just grinding lower, which is not great unless you caught that initial short from the top. In which case, congratulations. ES takes London's lows. NQ doesn't. That would be kind of a, as ICT calls it, an SMT for it to run higher. Potential indication of a potential turnaround. Never know. You may grind lower all day. All the talk of trade tariffs and stuff, that wouldn't surprise me either, you know what I mean? All right, so ES just ticked, bottom ticked lows of the London session. NQ is close. It's only about 20 or so points off from the lows of the London session. It looks like bleed down, doesn't it? Yep, we'll have to see. This extension line holds in the Power 3 model. Again, that's Hoppy's Power 3 dealing ranges. It's all based on mathematical models. I suggest you look him up, look up his gold-back stuff. Levels are pretty accurate a lot of the times. Still kind of learning them myself, so not 100% qualified to teach it. I would reference you going straight to the source as always. See how we ticked it? That's kind of interesting. I mean, we just ticked it. So either we'll head to the other side of the dealing range, or we'll drop down into the next lower dealing range. And bam. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Just tick the imaginary line. You see that? Can't make this stuff up. See the imaginary line on there? ES took out London's lows. Big candles back into the range there. Look at it go. That's beautiful. That's some beautiful price delivery. Could be all flare and just run right back down. I don't think so. I think we run higher. That's a strong candle. That's usually a good candle to get in on any kind of pullback. I mean, that's got some force behind it, some intention. How I see it. Displacement, as ICT calls it. That's good displacement right there. Look at it on a 5-minute. I mean, that's a monster. Good gosh. Yeah, not financial advice, just experience in the markets and learning from some people that have mastered these concepts long before I have. I learned, have been studying, continue to study ICT's method. Time frames, liquidity, stop runs, all of his different PD arrays. So, you look at that, mix that with Hoppy's Power 3 model. I mean, you can't get more precise than that. Look at that. It wicked that line twice. Perfect. Absolutely perfect delivery. And then just rocketed it up. With power. Throw it. So, I mean, you got to think about what it's doing here. Catching everybody, all the people that were short initially that didn't get out, they're still holding. I mean, it gave them no time to get out. They're dumbfounded right now, like a deer in the headlights. They've been holding this short all the way down, and it just wiped them out. And now they're just a deer in the headlights, taking all of their orders and liquidity. And that's how the market moves. It needs orders to pair with other orders. It's just how it goes. The ES is gone. I mean, ES, 2 candles ran the entire range through London's highs again. Look at that delivery. Pretty incredible. Documented right here on the YouTube. Pat to the Future. Follow me on Twitter. Success. We had a green transaction. And now I'm just going to watch. That was beautiful. If you're watching the stream for the first time, you'll see me mark this out. You'll see me take the trade. This is the high of this dealing range. We would move into the next partition up if we were going to continue higher. And what's interesting is that the extension line is right about consequent encroachment. I mean, it's almost dead even consequent encroachment of this fair value gap range. That's pretty awesome. Things line up like that. You know what you're working with. Remove some of the stuff. That's beautiful. Bingo. We just tapped that line. I mean, you can't get any more precise than that. You can go back and watch the stream. That was called ahead of time. Now I'm going to switch over to a break for a moment. We'll see how this goes. I need some coffee. What is up? Back on. Appreciate your patience. I had to go get some coffee. Yeah, so let's just kind of go over that. price action, recap what happened there. We traded down. The ES took the London lows and barely just bottom ticked it. I mean, it really barely bottom ticked it. And then it tapped this extension line, which again, this is not my stuff. This is Hoppy's Power 3, which kind of sort of originates from ICT, how he teaches Power 3, and so the two are related. That's all I'm going to say. You know, I'm not going to give anybody credit for coming up with it, more so discovering. And so, anyhow, there's this theory of the low of a dealing range and then an extension. The extension is kind of dedicated for the wick of a Power 3 and or stop runs. So in this case, it allowed ES to take out the London session low before they slammed the market in the direction that they really wanted it to go. We all know this is a new week opening gap. I mean, this is a gap in price delivery from, you know, where we just absolutely dumped and opened up, you know, way lower yesterday. And so price traded down, and it's kind of been trading up ever since. We dumped down. When you look at an hourly chart, you see the massive wick. So that wick is kind of the mathematical measurement for the Power 3. And then we head up to the high of the dealing range, and you see that this is now creating the wick within the range between the high and the extension. So if we're going to stay in this partition, then this is where you can start looking for the reversal if you're trading intraday. It doesn't mean that this is not going to continue higher. I mean, we have an inefficiency in this shaded box. This is the new week opening gap inefficiency that it's being drawn into. Anytime there's inefficient delivery, I mean, there's a gap in pricing. So there needs to be orders delivered there. It's not rocket science. And because of the inefficiency, the market draws towards that and wants to fill it with orders in order to make nice, solid, efficient price delivery. And on the contract, you know, there can't be any holes left in the contract. So price is going to seek out inefficiencies, hold highs, no lows, in the form of liquidity so that it can pair orders with big banks or larger orders, or just in general. I mean, algorithmic price delivery doesn't mean that it's some, you know, conspiracy that is the algorithm is there to take your money. It's there to deliver price efficiently based on the big movers in the market. I guarantee you that me trading on a Top Step X sim account is not the big mover in the market. So with that said, we seem to have respected the high of the dealing range nicely. At this point, I probably don't expect much other than maybe trade back down to the midpoint or continue higher, at least for this session. And in my opinion, you know, the best session really is after 9:30, after the initial Judas swing, the fake move, and then push it into the real direction that it wants to go. Catch everybody off guard, pair a bunch of orders. You know, this whole way down, they're pairing orders, pairing orders, pairing orders, pairing orders, and then boom, it gets released. That's what these news releases do, is they allow that liquidity injection, allows you to release all of those big orders all at the same time that people want. So what we do from here at this point, it's kind of up in the air. If we go ahead and fill this inefficiency, then great. Then you kind of got to wait for more information. So that's my take on how this morning's session went. If you're watching this video later, really appreciate you checking it out. Take note, I'll try to do an edited cut version where you can see the call out of the exact low of this particular move. Stuff works. Does it work every time? Nope. Could it have dropped down into below this into the next lower partition? Absolutely. There's partitions layered upon partitions. So this is just one dealing range. There's another dealing range below it, another one below that, another one above that. So where price is going to move within those dealing ranges You kind of have to wait for confirmation of that. Now you can, I took a practice trade on that. Had I wanted to do it on a live real account, then I probably would have waited for this high to be cleared. That would indicate a change in state of delivery, at least on the 1 minute. And then I would feel safer getting into that, and I would want to see this area stay open and be a breakaway gap, as ICT calls it. So that breakaway gap, as long as it stayed unfilled. So what would that trade look like? Well, you could go long, let's say you get this, then it takes that out, go long in here, put your stop top of that, aim for the high of the session. I mean, that's a 3.7, whatever you're comfortable with. Some people just like to do 2-to-1 odds, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. Now we're blasting through the other partition, which tells me that we're most likely going to go ahead and fill the gap. Why? Well, we'll have to see how this closes, but if we close above this extension line, then we're moving into the next dealing range. When it's in this area, it's kind of undecided, or it's unclear, I should say. It knows what it's doing. I don't know what it's doing. Kind of unclear, so I tend to wait before I make any decisions based on where we're going. But anyhow, so that was the very first stream. If you happen to watch the video later, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you thought of it. Anything you think I could do to make it better for you. And I appreciate you hanging out with me today. You guys have an awesome day, and you take care. I appreciate you checking it out.